Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. I'm Tanner Knight, and today we're going to talk about this ever-evolving corner of drums here. Behind me I have kind of a mishmash of Yamaha made in Japan 80s era drums. But first I want to talk about what this kit is replacing. I used to have a Yamaha YD7000 kit from 1982 in this position up until about a couple days ago when I actually sold it locally. I priced it pretty high because honestly, I loved that kit. I loved everything about it. The sizes were perfect. The finish was really nice. It was nice natural wood, and it was just a really high-end drum set from Yamaha from the era, and kind of a rare one as well. You don't see those YD7000 sets that often. You see a lot more of the 5000 series, 8000 series, and of course the 9000/recording custom series, but from Yamaha, 7000 is kind of an odd one. So the story behind the sale is actually kind of a nice one that I'd like to relate to you, and maybe even the new owner will catch this video and have a smile over it. But this was a really cool story. I got a trade offer from a 16-year-old young musician back just about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, we'll say, on that exact same Yamaha YD7000 kit. And he said, hey, I have a Gretsch guitar. I'd love to trade for this drum set, maybe a guitar and something else. And unfortunately, I just am not in the market for any more guitars. I'm fine in that department. I'm really focusing on my drum arsenal. So he was pretty intent on having it, but we just couldn't make a trade. And then about a week later, another guy contacts me about this exact same set and says, hey, my son has actually offered a trade on this set over Facebook, and you've been talking to him. I was like, oh, yeah, the Gretsch guitar. And he said, yeah. And I said, yeah, I wish that we could come to some sort of agreement on the trade, but, unfortunately it didn't work out. So his dad said, well, I'm going to go and buy the set for him. And he asked me to keep the listing up for an extra few days. This was about 4 days before Christmas. And he said, keep the listing up so he doesn't get suspicious. And I said, no problem. And he surprised him with the kit on Christmas Day, and he was elated. It sounds like he sent me a text afterwards saying he loved the kit, so that's a huge success in my book. I know that kit is going to get loved and help that youngster progress musically in whatever capacity he wants. So that means I went back to my garage and picked this kit out and put it up. And unfortunately, well, it depends on how you look at it. I'm going to call it fortunately for now. I only have one rack tom because I actually sold the 12-inch rack tom not too long ago. So I have the 22-inch bass drum, a 13 by 11-inch rack tom, and a 16 by 16-inch floor tom. But that's also not here. I just have these two pieces together from the Yamaha 5000 series 1986 set that we talked about in a few videos previously. And the floor tom, I actually went with the Yamaha 8000 series Power Tour, or whatever this series is called, in 1989. This is an 8000 series piano black 18 by 16-inch floor tom, and it is awesome. So this is kind of a Franken kit, but it's 80s Yamaha, so I figure it's close enough, and it's been fun for me to sit down and play on this because it's actually kind of a bigger sized kit. The drum, the kick drum is a 16-inch length, so a little bit longer than, well, I don't know, that's pretty standard. But we do have the 13 by 11 power tom with a big old 18 by 16. So bigger sizes on a smaller kind of three-piece kit. And that's what I've been rocking with besides the Superstars. Gravitate towards the Superstars in more cases than not, but I love these Yamaha 80s drums as well. That's why I've been kind of cycling in a few different kits just to kind of experience them and see which way I'd like to go in the future. Speaking of the future, this kit is for sale, and the pieces of it are for sale individually. I'm hopefully going to replace it entirely with a new kit, and I have a few options in mind. I'd really love to get a Pearl made in Japan kit from the 80s to kind of compare against these Tama and Yamaha examples as well, but we'll see. It's going to depend on the deal. I also have a bead on a cool USA made drum set that I'm not going to say too much about, but I do like that one, and then kind of leaning directly to my left or behind me.
So in all reality,
those are my
I don't
primary
have that much experience
and
with
a giant array of kits. I didn't play these all throughout the 80s. I have really, in the last 10 years, only explored some of the 80s Tama, 80s Yamaha, and other made in Japan style drums. So this is a learning process for me, and as such, I'm trying to get as much gear in here as possible for my own education, but also for yours as well. So having said that, if you happen to have a drum set, or even just a set of toms, or a single tom, or a snare, any kind of drum piece that's sitting around your house that you don't need or you don't use, and you'd like to see it featured on this channel, then I welcome all submissions for drums and drum parts for me to come and test out and just see what kind of sounds we can make on them. I'm not looking to buy your used drum equipment, so don't think of it that way, but I really would like to showcase your used drum equipment, and if it does facilitate a sale to someone else, so be it, that's great. I don't mind being a broker in that regard as well. But for the most part, I just love having a lot of different gear on here, banging on a lot of different drums, and seeing what I like best. So if you're interested in having your drums featured on this channel, then please contact me via my Facebook page, Tanner's Favorite Things. You can just direct message me in that specific Facebook page, and I will respond to you directly, and hopefully we can make something happen. I haven't really thought too much about the logistics of this. I assume that the owner of the drums will pay to send them to me, and then I'll be glad to use the same packaging to send them back and pay for return shipping. But we'll have to talk about all of those details if you are interested in having your drums featured on this channel. So we're here to talk about drums, but hey, let's go ahead and play a little drums as well. I have this set, this Franken set up in a way that makes sense to me, and I'll give you a quick rundown of the microphones. We have an SM58 on the hi-hat and the snare. We have an SM57 on the rack tom. We have a PVM328 microphone on the tom, and two microphones on the kick. One inside is a PVM321 kick mic, and a SM57 on the outside. So pretty standard, and they all sound like this.